Hello YouTube, Reddit Math here, and welcome back to the Reddit Estate. We're only a couple of episodes away from having the 16 characters at level 6 required to finally kind of make a run at the Darkest Dungeon. So I think we're going to take out a Stun Smash Parade. Really? There we go. Why were they reordered? Anyway, a Stun Smash Parade line up here to get a few more characters there, and then at that point I think I'm going to be like setting down and kind of trying to plan what the 4 teams would be, as each of the characters that you take into the Darkest Dungeon then refuse to go back. So they're kind of a one-time use of resource at that point, and I want to make sure that we're not going to end up with teams that are incompatible. Bigby's got restrictions on who he can go out with, or we're going to end up with like 3 lepers in a party and be like, well, that's not going to work. That sort of thing. So this might be the last time we have to do it. I think we'll make the hard limit on having 16 characters, but I'm not quite sure that there'll be 16 useful characters after this level up. So we might end up doing maybe like 1 more mission. We'll see. But probably no more than that. And then the other thing I want to point out is in a recent update, we did also add this little notification down here that's telling us what town event is actually going to be triggered by going into certain missions. They don't all have them, but you'll get Caregivers Convention, Fresh Air in the Tunnels, and Bumper Crop available here. Now, I don't actually know what any of those things are, but at least you'll have some idea that they're coming. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and provision for the Wild, and see what there is to do there. So, we finally added that. My carpal tunnel syndrome thanks you. So holding shift and clicking on food can now give me a full stack of food, which is probably the single greatest quality of life improvement that I have had in Darkest Dungeon in over a year. So let's see. We need bandages, we need anti-venom. We can also get food from having medicinal herbs, and technically keys could be required. We could have secret rooms. I believe they reduced the frequency of secret rooms. They no longer have like 100% chance to be there on a champion level long dungeon sort of thing, which is kind of interesting. I don't know how I will feel about that. Technically, holy water could be useful, but I think I'm just going to forego it and save the inventory space. We'll go with something like this. Yeah, we'll have 1 key just in case. I'll try to hold on to that until absolutely necessary, on the chance that we scout ourselves a secret room. And then everything else is pretty good. I think we're ready. We'll go ahead and step off. We do have new enemies to encounter out there, which are frightening to say the least, but hopefully nothing too screwy. We could technically lose 4 more characters before the game is basically over. That would get us to 10 of 12, and then the final dungeon would take us to 12 of 12.
Our land is remote and unneighbored. Every lost resource must be recovered.
Now, we can see with our scout. We don't need to go here. It's not going to be our objective, so we'll skip at least 2 fights that way. Instead, just head to a hallway battle and then the next room. I know someone did ask in a previous video about whether or not you could
decimated.
You could prevent the 2 characters that needed to die from dying as long as you did enough damage. That is technically correct, like the best kind of correct in the final battle. However, it's pretty out there to say that you can do that. It requires like a very specific party comp, a ton of buffs, getting a critical hit, all sorts of stuff to happen so that you can do enough damage to take the end boss from more than 50% health straight to dead without him being able to get an attack off. So we're probably not going to rely on something like that. Now, I really like this combo that I've set up here, and it did work out pretty well, right? We were able to lunge, then shadow fade, and now the Hellion is going to be able to break through.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Landing a pretty solid kill there, and then, with his additional... Yeah, with his additional stun resist, I think we just go for a little bit of damage and hope that we get to kill him. But unfortunately left him with 3 HP. Took it off an uppercut slice. Not the end of the world at all. Got 2 characters that could heal him. Let's see if we can't put a dart in his body. That's awesome. It'll mean if he does get his action that he just dies. And then everybody else can sort of focus on self-healing or self-buffing. And we come out of this first fight.
The slow death. Unforeseen. Unforgiving.
Honestly, better off than we went into it. Joel had a little bit of stress that has melted away due to the amazing acumen at that fight. And everybody came out with still full HP. Now, I didn't bring along any holy water because I was like, you almost never see these. I knew they were in here. But, I rolled the dice and didn't quite come up winning there. Oh well, maybe next time. Let's see if we can pull another scout. We can. That's awesome. Ashley with the ancestral map is a pretty big boon. So, still not spotting any of the mission required curios. I think we need to come down here just because, it could be in that final area. We'll grab that on the way back. We'll let Ashley deal with these. Awesome. And basically just hope to get a scout when entering this room. That'll tell us whether or not we need to walk down there. Man, amazing. And indeed, quest location. Good thing we came. And there really wasn't much this way as far as danger is concerned. So we're able to pick up the Chirurgeon satchel and the medicines without really risking too much. I am going to go ahead and just step into the room so that I don't have to take any kind of backtracking penalties. But otherwise, we'll get a move on. I am looking forward to, there's stuff coming for Darkest Dungeon very soon, and I'm trying my darndest to make sure that we're ready for this, which is the upcoming DLC. The Crimson Court is on its way. I don't
A fortune waiting to be spent.
think there's a firm release date for that yet, or if there is, I have clearly not been paying enough attention. And additionally, what I'd kind of like to be able to do... Alright, you're going to steal stuff in the pack? Is that...
Wealth beyond measure. Awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike.
Him stealing the journal actually really irritates me there, but oh well. Us being able to get, like a Radiant fight started, or a Radiant campaign rather started.
Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
For something that I'm hoping isn't as much an easier campaign as it is just simply a shorter campaign. And then the Crimson Court content coming into that to add again some more diversity. Now I'm wondering, what do you think you do here? Do you start? I mean, we could go lunge. I think we go lunge. I was really hoping for the critical hit and maybe like a one-shot, but didn't land it. Instead, didn't land the bleed either. Man. Because, we do have some restrictions on...
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
What we can do due to our leper and his requirement to stay up front. But this will work out pretty well. We'll be able to shadow fade off of that. And then Ashley's got a pretty good overall composition for like different positions here. Like she doesn't really get less useful, you know, when she's in the front. She can shadow fade. Shadow fade's amazing. She doesn't really get less useful by moving her to the 3rd or 4th positions, though. All right. And could really just use like a real big hit from you. Unfortunately, not quite putting that out. Man, I should really come up with something better than the quickening satchel. I mean, speed is nice, but there are probably better things to use there. And since we didn't land that stun, like a stunning satchel seems like the obvious choice. I don't honestly know why I'm not using one. Maybe I don't have an additional stunning satchel. But either way,
prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
Either way, we wrecked everything there and came out basically untouched. Let's go
In
ahead and pop
radiance,
that.
may we find victory.
Then we'll leave behind the bus for now. Alright, looking pretty good. So far, no stress, no damage. I mean, can't ask for more, right? Especially after that that last run, basically everyone came back insane. So it would be nice to not have to deal with de-stressing these guys when we get back to the estate. I'd be pretty happy to see that. Alright, we can use some spider webs. Basically just hope for stuff that stacks.
Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood.
And not quite, but you know, a common debuff charm I think is really not worth it. And then we'll pop the other torch so we can start another stack of gold. Yeah, we got 120% disarm chance. This is a fairly decent party. I think the only part of it, you know, that really teeters on the edge a tiny bit is just going to be that whole lunging attack, shadow fade sort of thing. Like, I can see how maybe that could get out of whack and end up sort of screwing you over, for lack of a better term. But it hasn't done so yet, and hopefully it continues to not do so. So I think I want to grab maybe just a kill right off the bat here. Then this guy's got a ton of bleed. And we don't really do any extras. So you know what? I'm going to adrenaline up for like the extra hard hit. And then we'll try to land some stuns here. Awesome. And no, he doesn't have the buff I'm looking for. Alright. You do something from the back. Oh, that's awful. I was like, maybe he can't do anything from back here, but he can totally summon additional characters. Alright, so he's at 200% stun resist. That was never going to happen. Unless I'd go with something like this.
Destroyed.
Nice. So that was a little bit of, you know, that damage up, certainly. I've come to find, I really think the Adrenaline Surge is like the most undervalued thing that I see out of the Hellion. She's got so many things that give her a debuff that Adrenaline Surge is just sort of to counteract that, right? Like you use one before or immediately after the other, and then you basically continue to get
eradicated.
Nice. You continue to get your base level of damage out just every single turn. I was really hoping for the bleed. I was really hoping for something better than 11. Because of course, the Cytokinesis, the resummon, we were so close yet so far. It's probably worth it to go ahead and pass out a party heal here. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. And then you say we go for a stun on you, and then hope for a breakthrough that kills him. Wow, 8 and 7. That was really not good. Oh man, how quickly the tides have shifted. All right.
Monster's size has no intrinsic merit, unless Inordinate exsanguination be considered a virtue?
Alright, we'll just get rid of the big guy, and then... I don't know how inordinate the...
Annihilated.
Well, that was some overkill. The exsanguination is when you're talking about a giant jelly sack filled with bones and swords. I mean, there's no blood in there, right? Like, I'm pretty sure they're blood-free. Alright, come on. Not quite. I was really hoping for it. Let's see if we can pull a party heal. Maybe out before anything else happens. Especially if we could get the stun there. I'd feel pretty good about it. Okay, okay. I'm gonna let you do this again for the stall. And indeed we can get a party heal out. And that leaves us basically 2 HP down.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
We're still almost at... we've got 2 more stress and 2 less HP than we would have when we started. I think we'll have to give up the crest and also... Ooh, no scout there. And also... What do I want to happen with our... medicine here is my real question. I guess we toss the jade for it. Wanna toss the jade for it? I think we'll have to. All right, we got no scout here. So eeny meeny miny this way, I think is going to be our upcoming plan. Could just be like on the road somewhere along here.
If only treasure could staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
I really want these journal pages. Like, I really want these journal pages.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
Alright. We're going to do that. Is this worth 500 gold? I mean, not technically, no. But I gotta catch them all. Like, I'm of that generation, right? Our purpose was to desecrate their animalistic shrines and thus disperse the swine folk. But soon we came across an artifact. This was far beyond the crude fetishes crafted by the pigmen. It looked as if obsidian had been grown and twisted into a dark symbol of worship. It cradled a pulsing red orb, glowing with malevolent light. Cuthbert, Bolin, and I hesitated, but thrice damned Mizir, driven by crazed impulse, thrust his torch in a hidden receptacle, and thus sealed our fate. Ooh, that's interesting. So, the Shambler altar, right? Like, the swine folk constructed them... Oh, man. One time we don't get a scout.
Spring to life with a singular purpose.
So we find that the swine folk had constructed them out of some kind of special obsidian, right? And then an unknown red orb was cradled within it. Suddenly our scouting luck has just evaporated. I don't love that. It's weird to me. I always feel like no matter what I'm bringing the wrong things into the Weald. Well, we did choose to go the right way. Can't argue with that. You know, I've been down here before and encountered like 6 obstructions. You know, just everywhere you go, there is a thorny thicket.
A victim to the spreading corruption, malformed with misintent.
And yet, here we are, you know, not encountering but one.
Purchase, spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
I've been down here before and encountered, you know, nothing but fungal enemies and wished for so much bleeding and so much poison cures and just never had them, right? Like, I've, for a long time, considered the Plague Doctor almost required to come here. Also, I completely forgot to reset my party position while I was talking there. That's fine, though. We can grab a stun here. And Lay out a little bit of... lay out nothing but a dodge. Okay. A little bit of damage here. Not bad. And a little bit more damage here. Very nice. Okay. So, you know, I've had... Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've had times where I've encountered nothing but fungal enemies and needed all of the anti-venom in the world. I've had dogs leave our party slick with blood and just wished for the ability to bandage more wounds. Like, I've had just everything you could imagine down here. And...
Press this advantage.
Whoa, big hit.
Give them no quarter.
Those crits. Percentage isn't that high, but I feel like she is critically hitting it like 50% of the time fully, which is pretty crazy. Alright, so what I was thinking here was we line up for the breakthrough. Unfortunately, our leper is not gone yet, so I think instead we're going to have to grab the damage up, and we'll take our big hit on the next turn. We can weaken everybody down to the point that a breakthrough might actually do some good. Which maybe is a bit of a waste, leaving this cultist alive for so long, but meh, I think we'll live through it. I think we'll live through it. And yet...
Their formation is broken.
Nice.
Maintain the offensive.
And yet, you know, in this trip, we're having anything but that scenario, right? Like... all of the madmen, all of the madmen, all of the giants that we could be encountering, and yet we're seeing almost none of that. So you know what? I'll take a little bit of stress, especially because I think I'm going to end up camping right after this, and really, and delay it one turn for the kill. As long as that lands, the blight.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
Okay. I think most of this is going to get tossed because it just kind of has to. That's interesting. Has there always... There's no way there's always been that that flavor text there. It's no use. This is all the light we are getting for now. I guess that's because I'm at max light. I've just never noticed. Is that what happened there? Huh. Interesting. Do we toss one torch for one more onyx? Is that worth it? We're not. I mean, we're not that well off. Let's do it, and then I can go ahead and camp here.
Gathered close in tenuous firelight and uneasy companionship.
We might as well use the max amount. Get everybody basically taken care of here. An actual opportunity to use wound care and remove a bleed. And then let's see what we can do for buffs. Two. Let's grab that. And that. Basically getting some, like, real big damage buffs on our frontline damagey types. I don't really care to prevent nighttime ambushes that much. When we don't need to de-stress, I don't feel like that's worth it. The scout might be. Especially if there's just like straight nothing else to be doing, because we don't have any we don't have really any other stressors or anything. So, you know, why not? We'll grab a third key, okay. And then we can go ahead and rest there. So we're going to sleep with max HP and 0 stress. Like, suddenly I know how to play the game or something. Versus that that last adventure where we were pretty much teetering on the brink the entire time, right? Alright, and our final doctor's toolkit. You may be asking, why did I do all of that? It's because I'm going to continue adventuring, obviously. So I think I'm going to double back. We're going to go ahead and clear out this dungeon in its entirety. Because if you can't fully clear a dungeon when runs are going this well, When can you fully clear a dungeon? Right? Now, there's no... You know, the XP system, of course, means the only thing we're really gaining from here is going to be treasure, but we did also just clear out a couple of inventory spaces, so I think this is as good a time as any to try to max that stuff out. We've got at least one more space, and we know that we could start kind of dumping things. We're certainly not going to need 3 antivenoms because we literally never encountered any of the like fungal artillery guys. Knock on wood. I've just cursed myself. That goes without saying. And yeah, we did completely get rid of our torches, which I think is going to be fine. Torchlight's certainly going to dwindle. Oh, of course, we gave up all our torches, so that's worthless. I also don't think I have any more ancestral trinkets to gain from doing that. I think I've gotten them all. So instead, we're just going to smash ourselves some spiders. I mean, technically these guys could hit us with a little bit of blight, but I think they're going to web us up instead. Yep, that's a stun. Oh, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, he resisted it. I've never been so disappointed before that that somebody resisted.
A devastating blow.
Like, I brought these antivenoms. You better use them. Nope, and still resisted. Okay then. I mean, we'll just toss out the heal. Why not? And you know what? Also, why not? If I could maybe get out, yeah, I do. If I could maybe get out an adrenaline rush, should be able to heal the full and have...
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
Just the tiniest damage buff. We'll go ahead and get rid of our last medicinal herb for that. And keep pushing on. So our torchlight will probably kind of last us all the way. Maybe a little bit of a bummer that we didn't have a torch. There we go. This is what I'm talking about. This is the lineup that I've encountered so many times before. Like, I basically have to build my party expecting that I'm going to get these sort of corrupted giant, fungal bombard, and, you know, a blighted crone, or like the cultist witch, something that is going to be doing just massive, just massive stress damage to me over and over again. I'm actually really disappointed on missing with that bleed. The confusion spores could be quite nasty. Thankfully they were not. Because she's going to be able to just lunge her way back up.
The ground quakes.
Immediately followed by a breakthrough, which could get the kill on this guy. Yeah, exactly. 10 damage to him is not really that overwhelming now. But now the stress comes out. Now the stress is everywhere. And poison spores. Getting some really good resist rolls, especially considering... man, he really does. I guess it's all the immunity mask. I guess my head kind of knew intellectually that the leper had poor resist, but that trinket is pretty fully offsetting it. We're gonna go here for just... Wow! This crone is like the worst. Just the worst. Refusing to die over and over again. I'm gonna keep going back here. The two characters that can hit the back row, I think, have to be hitting the back row. This could be terrible. It was kind of terrible. Alright. Not bad, not bad. As long as Joel gets to go soon-ish, then I think we'll be okay. We'll be able to toss out a pretty big heal. But yeah, our light levels have been, you know, just greatly reduced. She doesn't have anything jacking with her accuracy. Is it 90? Causes her to have 90. -5 for a trinket. Berserk charm. That's it though, right? Yeah? She got -5 for the Berserk charm and then +10 from the camping skill. And still, like, I feel like missing a lot of attacks recently. Or just our entire party is. I mean, it's gotta be... I guess it's the light level? Like, the enemies are getting an accuracy buff and we've lost ours? Is that kind of what's doing this? I may sound despondent, but it's like, I don't think we're gonna lose anybody in this one fight, and once it's over, I can just leave the dungeon, which I think is getting more and more realistic that that's exactly what I do. This is like a fantastic example of just like, hubris is brought low, etc., etc. So, you know, it's not lovely, certainly.
Death waits for the slightest lapse in concentration.
But man, like, we've gained 75, 65, she's at 446, and this is all just from one fight. It's absolutely from one fight. Which I find kind of staggering, right? Like, things were going so well. How did we end up like this? But oh well. Need like one good hit. It's not quite gonna do it, which is unfortunate. I think if we just do something like that, though, we're then gonna be good.
Perhaps the turning point.
Man, oh man.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Might as well take this back into the shovels, and what would... There's never anything in... Yeah, it's already unlocked. Oh, of course it's trapped. But we resisted it, and it had nothing inside. That was worthless. So, this is like a prime example of just ego and hubris getting in the way. Let's push on into the darkness kind of thing, and man, now we've got 3 characters that need to de-stress after we get back. That's awful. I did not anticipate that at all.
These medicines will prevent the outbreak of epidemic at our struggling hamlet.
And all really from that one fight, too. I guess it was just the loss of light level. Our accuracy seemed to really tank there with a lot of very clutch either dodges, or in the case of some of Ashley's, you know, poisoned attacks, just resistances just over and over again that otherwise would have made taking out the crone much easier. I'm not loving rabies. Soft is also objectively just bad, and I don't really love a location specific thing replacing Night Owl. Also, I think Hard Noggin is better. Stun resist versus Unyielding's Death Blow resist. Maybe that's debatable. I mean, we didn't make a single Death Door check in that entire run, but did she make a single stun check in that entire run?
The preponderance of rare and exotic injuries makes this place perfect for the study of suffering.
Of course it is. Among the visiting delegation are experts in corporeal and cognitive disability, as well as several forensic specialists. So the treatment ward and the medical ward are both free. Vacanti was caught making strange requests. Replaces Mrs. the Spot. What replaces Mrs. the Spot? De-stress. No longer selfish. Yeah. Vacanti, what happened? Oh, deviant taste. It just doesn't name it. Okay. For reasons best left to discretion. So we're going to see the sanitarium treatments are now free. We've got all of these visiting specialists here with their clipboards. Clipboards always mean things are free. Oh, okay. No, is it just... So it's just the treatment ward and the medical ward. Ah, purely the sanitarium. Okay. Well, that's... I mean, that's good too. There's nothing wrong with that. But man, we do certainly need to take a minute to de-stress. Thankfully, we just got 4 more characters up to level 6. They don't need to go back out immediately. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, I just am going to take a minute to kind of decide whether or not the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Nope, we're at 14. We actually don't have enough. Never mind. 15, 16. There we go. It's like I counted this before I stepped off. All right, we're at exactly 16. I just had not like resorted by level, I guess. We're at exactly 16 characters. It'll just be whether or not I think I can make parties out of all of those. You know, I might find myself light on like a healer or something like that. Because I could see, you know, you're going to build a party around like 1 Vestal, 1 occultist, a 2nd occultist, and I don't know, man. Maybe you convince me that I can do an arbalist with medic Greaves as a healer in like a more damage-centric party. Who knows? Who knows? It's either that or I'm going to need 1 more healing class to come up. And honestly, I don't have that for a good long while. Like there are just no options there. So I may just have 1 particularly unhealing adventure into the darkest dungeon. All right, well, that'll be a journey for next time. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, feel free to subscribe. There's lots more on the channel. You can leave a like or a comment if you have anything to say about this or any of my other videos. And I will catch you guys next time.